Hello there, universe. So, Mass Effect. I'm kind of a fan. You know, in case you haven't noticed, I've made a couple of videos on it here or there, and apparently they got a new game out. Well, what if that's any good? Alright, but in all seriousness though, even though I am a huge Mass Effect fan, I wasn't really that looking forward to the new Mass Effect, simply because it's not the same Bioware that made the old Mass Effect games. Okay, there's no Corey Hudson, there's no Drew Karpyshyn, even though it is still Bioware, it's not the same Bioware. I'm sure there's still a few people involved, like Mac Walters was obviously involved in the first few games, but I knew going into it, it wasn't going to live up to my standards of the original Mass Effect trilogy, so I didn't set my expectations all too high. With that being said, what do I think of this game? Well, let's talk about it. Alright, let's talk about the L-core in the room first. The animations. Yes, they're incredibly awkward and they're incredibly janky, but to be completely honest, that doesn't really bother me. Graphics have never been my strong suit in gaming simply because, while it can look awkward or it can look amazing at first, after like 5 minutes I just forget about it and I stop noticing it. However, I do have to acknowledge, there are times where characters' faces just look really stupid, especially body animations. That's what bothered me, seeing people do the exact same motions over and over and over again for every conversation. Good lord, did that look dumb. However, the bigger problem for me graphics-wise was the frame rate and glitches. Characters just clipping through environments, textures taking forever to load, enemy AI just popping up out of nowhere. How is it this game has the exact same flaws that the first Mass Effect had, and that game's a decade old? The inconsistent frame rate is a major problem. The game will just drop from 30 to 0 when nothing's happening. You could just be driving across a planet and suddenly the game will just poop on itself. It's kind of embarrassing that a game can be this unpolished on a technical level. But thing is, graphics have never been BioWare's strongest suit. So when people said that this game has awkward facial animations or bad frame rate issues, then I kind of expected that, because all of their games have had issues similar to this. If it does bug you, then I get it. For me, it's something I expected, so it doesn't draw too much away for the game for me. However, let's get to the aspect that BioWare has always put forward as the most important part: the story. In this game, thousands of people of each species travel millions of light years to the Andromeda galaxy hoping to find a new home, and you play as the human pathfinder whose duty it is to travel to each planet to try and find places where we can settle down. However, a species known as the Ked has also arrived in the Andromeda galaxy and is trying to assimilate the locals. But there's even more to it when you discover an ancient synthetic species known as the Remnant that have a mysterious past. Now, while this is a good setup for a story and it does raise a lot of questions, the big issue here is they don't really answer those questions. Like, where did the Ked come from? Why do they want to exalt everyone? Who is their leader? What about the Remnant? Who made them? What's their purpose? Are they good or bad? What are they capable of? All these questions and more will not be answered. True, this is the first installment of a trilogy, so I don't expect them to give us all the answers, but even the original Mass Effect trilogy knew to give you some answers in the first game. By the end of Mass Effect 1, we knew what the Reapers were capable of, when roughly they were going to be here, what they wanted to do to us. You don't really get that in this game. So the story itself works perfectly fine as a setup, but it's pretty hard to judge it when we don't actually have the full picture. However, the one thing that's just universally agreed to be the best part of any Mass Effect game: the characters. So let's talk about them, starting with the main character, Ryder, who, for my personal playthrough, I went for a female Ryder, and personality-wise I made her more casual/emotional, because I felt that differentiated her from Commander Shepard, because Ryder is new at this job, she's very inexperienced, so I didn't feel comfortable making her that professional because, one, I think that would make her too similar to Shepard, but also it just didn't feel like it would fit the character. The way playing her being emotional/casual, it gave her more of a sense of humour, it made her more sarcastic, and it made her interesting for me personally, which, you know, if you play the game, and you can play it any way you want obviously to make it a character that you would like, but I like doing this because it made her feel different, and it made her feel unique, and it made her feel just interesting for me personally. Also, something that I like is they actually say your character's name. Yeah, it's not often, they always refer to you as Ryder, but every so often someone will call you Sarah. And I just like that, because that never happened in the original games. No matter how close you were with people, you could be in your most intimate moments, they would still call you Commander or Shepard, and that's just kind of dumb. Cora, I think, was fine. My biggest issue with her is that they didn't take her character far enough. There could have been a lot of tension between you and Cora, because she was supposed to be the next human pathfinder, but instead you were chosen over her. That could have caused some great drama, but instead she's all, oh well, you know, I wish it was me, but I guess you're a good choice as well, and because of that the dynamic never really shifts throughout the game. Liam was a lot of fun as a character. He's incredibly energetic, he's witty, he's optimistic, he gets along really well with pretty much everyone, and he had the best loyalty mission for me because he was just so much fun on that mission. I start with these guys because usually in Mass Effect the human characters are the worst, so here we have characters who aren't scene stealers, but they're not bad. I like them enough and I'd be curious to see if they do come back in the next installment. Vetra for me has the same problem that Cora did, and that's being they don't take her character far enough. She's someone that does a lot of trading in the black market and has done some shady stuff in her time, and you could have gotten a lot out of that. But they make her too nice, and again, there's no real tension between you and Vetra at the start of the game. So as the game goes on, nothing really changes there. A good example of how they do it in Mass Effect 2 with Mordin. That's a character initially I hated. I completely disagreed with him on a moral basis. I thought he was really arrogant, and everything about him is not what me or what I chose my Shepard to stand for. But then I go on his loyalty mission and I learn about him. I learned that he had religious experiences. I learned what his actual views on life and philosophy are. And from there I actually understood him more as a character. And by the end of that series, he was one of my favourite characters. Same thing could have happened here. Vetra, she's done a lot of dark stuff. She's done a lot of creepy and shady stuff in the past. Also, she and her sister are perfectly safe. From there, you have that opening, you have that bit where you see the, well, not humanity, but you see the philosophy and you see the morals and ethics there. You could have really played with that. You could have had the characters not like each other, or at least give me the option to not like her. And then, when I learned more about her family, I could see things from her point of view, and by the end of the game, the characters are friends. Start as friends, end as friends, there's not a lot of drama there. Drac was basically just Rex, which is why I'm kind of split on him, because there's really not that much unique about the character. He's older than Rex, but Rex was already pretty old. This guy's just older, and that makes him grumpier, and it makes him like a war veteran of sorts. Yeah, that's kind of why I'm split, because his character really doesn't have that much uniqueness about him. But at the same time, I love Rex, so why would I not want more of him? The only thing that truly makes him different from Rex is that he has a granddaughter, Kesh. And if I'm being honest, I would have rather had Kesh be the crewmate, because that would be a completely new character. It's a female Krogan, which, by the way, we finally get to see what female Krogans look like. And she's also very political and democratic, and she uses her brain a lot more than her fists. Honestly, it was such a different character that we've ever seen from the Krogan. I would have much rather had her be part of the team. What makes Drac lovable is this great relationship he has with Vetra, which I'll get to later on, but as for now, yeah, the character was fine. Jarl is a character that my first impression of was not a good one. I looked at him and I thought, this is basically going to be the Javik of the game. You know, he's going to be the outsider who doesn't really fit in. His culture's going to be way different from the rest of ours. And he ended up being friggin' adorable. Yeah, adorable. That's not the word you would think of when you look at that. But the guy is just so gosh darn cute. He joins the crew and he decides he's going to make presents for everyone. And later on he introduces you to his family and he has little projects that he works on. And his species are just very emotionally honest with each other. And god damn it, it was just so freaking cute. I can't think of another word for it. It's just, I want to pinch his cheeks. And his mum, like, sends emails to you asking for pie recipes. How do you not think this is just the most adorable thing ever? PB is a very unique character for the Asari, because the Asari are just a very formal species. But no, she's wild at heart, she's constantly going on adventures, she never stays anywhere for too long, and because of that I think she has the most defined character arc in the entire game. Because at the start, she's someone that just hates relationships, she never likes getting close to anyone, she's always got one foot out the door, and by the end of the game she's a loving and loyal member of the crew. That's what I want from everyone. PB got it, I wish everyone else got that too. And there are several crew members that don't actually go on missions with you, but they're there on the ship, and they all have interesting personalities as well. Callow and Gil have constant bickering over what they want to do with the ship. Suvi is a science officer, but she's also incredibly religious. Lexi is a doctor who just aggressively wants to take care of everyone. It's little details like these that make these characters feel interesting and makes me want to spend time with them and talk with them. And the interactions between the crew members is greatly welcomed. With the original Normandy crew, characters didn't really talk that much to each other, and they always just stayed stationed in their room. Here, characters are constantly moving about the ship, they're constantly having conversations, leaving little notes for each other in the crew's quarters. It's just little details like that that make it feel more alive. This is also where you see the unique relationships in between the crew develop. Drac and Vetra have this great father-daughter relationship because they've both done shady stuff in the past. PB and Cora just do not like each other at all because Cora behaves more like an Asari than the actual Asari. And Liam and Jarl are just really comfortable with each other. So while the extra effort to make the crew bond is welcomed, I think they kind of pushed it too far. Like, by the end of the game, all the characters are talking about how this crew is like a family now. How long does this game take over a course of time? Like, a couple weeks maybe? Yeah, I think they're pushing it a little bit too far in the whole, yes, we all love each other, we all trust each other, we're like the closest thing ever. Just, a good example of this is take the romances, because in the original Mass Effect games, I romanced Liara, and in this game, I romanced PB, because I apparently have a thing for Asari. In this game, you have the option to say I love you by the end of the game, and I just kept thinking, ooh, it's a bit early for that, because in the original Mass Effect trilogy, you don't get the I love you until the end of Mass Effect 3. That is build up there. This game is just so adamant in making them a family that I think they rush it a little too much. And I've seen people complaining that, oh, I don't love this crew as much as the old crew. Well, no fucking shit. That's because you had 3 games to fall in love with that crew. And really think about it. Like, did you really love the crew in the first game? Like, think about Garrus, for example. Garrus is almost everyone's favourite character. He's a badass, he's awesome, he's witty, he's sarcastic, he's your bro. But he's all that stuff in the second Mass Effect game. You think of Mass Effect 1, he really doesn't leave that much of an impact. Like, he's a police officer who kind of sometimes likes to get past the red tape, but there wasn't much to his character in that game. He got development in the second one. So here we start off with development for all the characters. You have the groundwork laid there. So by the time the next Mass Effect Andromeda game comes out, by then we will hopefully have fallen in love with these characters. I do really enjoy these characters. I don't see them as a family like they're really trying to shove it here, but you see the groundwork being laid, and I actually think that in the end you can fall in love with this crew the same way you do with the original crew. You just gotta give it time. And that leads us into gameplay, and without a doubt the biggest improvement here are the shooting mechanics. Taking cover feels natural, movement feels far less restrictive, because when you go back and play the old games, movement feels so tight sometimes that it's more like playing chess with guns. Also, you can jump in this game, which I like it when you can jump. I grew up playing a lot of platformers, so I just kind of have this distrust of games that you can't jump in. And they don't lock off the skill branches in this game. You have all the different skills at your disposal, and they leave it up to you to decide what you want to upgrade, where you want to put your skills. So that way you can have like a million different powers, but they're all just going to be kind of weak, or you can have 3 or 4 powers that you are really freaking good at. Unfortunately, the RPG aspects are really disappointing. Customization has been stripped to a bare minimum, and the character creation is a joke. I hate this trend where each Mass Effect game, the RPG aspects become less and less prominent with each installment, and this is the worst they've ever been. Something else that has gone is the Paragon and Renegade system. They've completely replaced that and reinvented it with now a 4-way system, where your responses can be emotional, intellectual, casual, or professional. And I actually think that's a much better system, because they said they wanted this to be less good, bad type of thing, and more of a grey area. Certain situations, it's just more appropriate to respond this way than it is the other way. And also I think it helps make your character seem a bit more distinct when you have 4 different responses instead of just 2. Well, technically 3. You have Paragon, Renegade, and Neutral, but who the fuck goes neutral? Exploration is a massive part of this game. You go to a planet, you have to make it habitable, and then you can do whatever side missions are available there. You know, all that's fine. What's really annoying is when you have to go back to those planets. Because once you've got there, once you think you've done every mission available, throughout the game you'll just meet other people and say, oh yeah, can you go to that one planet and do this tiny little thing for me? So you have to travel to each planet like 10 more times, and oh my god, I hate the backtracking in this game. And it doesn't help that the Nomad is here, which is just a reinvention of the Mako, and I'm sorry, I'm one of those Mako apologists. I fucking love the Mako. I love its physics-defying, whack-job vehicle aspects. And here they've decided to make the Nomad function much more like a real vehicle, and while I'm sure the majority of people are going to prefer that, I miss my Looney Tunes Mako. The loyalty missions are back, and they are okay. See, this is what I was saying at the start of the game. You need to have more tension and distrust between the crew, and then you go on these missions and you learn more about them personally and you start to bond with them, and then you all become friends. That was the power of the loyalty missions. And here, you're already friends, so there isn't that much drama in between the characters, but also you don't really get the feeling that a whole lot has changed for the other characters during the loyalty missions. There's not that much drama there. I mean, Liam's I already said I really enjoyed, simply because that was just a really funny and really creative mission. Character-wise, I didn't do that much. In fact, I don't actually remember what the story in that was. I just remember laughing at the dialogue a lot, so I liked it. Drax's is decent. It involves him trying to save his son-in-law, who he doesn't really like as a person, but he's adamant about saving him anyway, so with there, you kind of have a good dynamic going. Giles is probably the best as a traditional loyalty mission because it involves several of his siblings going rogue and becoming your enemies, so there you have a lot of good drama and tension, and you get the sense the character has changed going on the mission. However, Cora, Vetra, PB, they sucked. So, to finally wrap this up, is this game as good as the original Mass Effect trilogy? Of course not. It was never going to be. But is it as bad as people are saying it is? Hell no. It's still got great characters, the story works, the gameplay is solid. I enjoyed spending time in Andromeda, and I'm looking forward to going back there in the future in other installments. So, that's all I have to say. Universe, what did you think of Mass Effect Andromeda? Did you like it? And who were your favourite characters? Whatever you think, let me know down below, and I'll see you next time, Universe.